Satan is trying to work from the inside to weaken the church through dissension, discord, and conformity to the world. It is little wonder then that Satan is doing everything he can to attack the Seventh-day Adventist movement.
So don't be bogged down with these apostates, and be careful on the internet.
Human apostates are mentally diseased, and they try to infect others with their disloyal teaching.
Studying the church through the eyes of its defectors, Elder Neil A. Maxwell once said, is like interviewing Judas to understand Jesus. Defectors always tell us more about themselves than about that from which they have departed.
I really honestly loved being a Seventh-day Adventist. I was very involved in the church. I wrote for the church. I was very active in Sabbath school. I was in choir. I was so active, and I actually loved it. It's just there were some things that bothered me on the side. When you're told that everyone out there is going to be deceived by the Antichrist, you alone, you better cling with all your heart to these principles and these things you've been taught, or you're going to be deceived. And then at one point, my husband and I just looked at each other and we said, this is just so wrong. This is just so wrong, we have to leave. And so just in faith, but it really broke my heart. I knew that it was traumatizing my family and my brothers and sisters, and it was...
Because you were vocal about some of these things you were discovering, and...
Well, I wanted them to know why we were leaving. That it wasn't because Adventists believe you don't leave the church for doctrinal reasons, that you leave it because you've been hurt. Somebody hurt you.
A lot of people will accuse former Adventists of hating or having a grudge against Seventh-day Adventists, which is absolutely not true. The SDAs are people who are my family members. So these are all people who are integral part of my life then and now. So there's no hate, it's the theology that I have difficulty with. It's the doctrines that I have difficulty with and find to be untrue.
As soon as we discovered things about the Watchtower and the UN Association, the failed false prophecies, the Bible changes, the New Light, and so on, we just thought, oh, we can't do this anymore. We can't go to the meetings. Possible if I can still worship Jehovah without
being a Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah, and following the faithful and discreet slave, and he said, no, that's impossible. You can't do that. They both go hand in hand.
We did not believe that Jehovah's Witnesses have the truth. So
yeah,
we didn't go, but we got disfellowship for having doubts. Yeah, we've lost all of our Jehovah's Witness family and friends. We're being shunned like most ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. We would never be able to be witnesses again knowing the reality behind it. There's just no way. I could never close my eyes again.
I got baptized as a very, very young person. I had no idea the implications that would come from this. I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't know that if I changed my mind once I became an adult, once I had my own thought process, that I would lose my entire family over it. It's no wonder that witnesses are commanded to stay off of the internet, to only go to one particular website, and we know which website that is, the one that's owned by them. Above everything, I have to live an authentic life. Just point blank. I can't pretend to be something that I'm not. I can't pretend to love an organization that I don't. I can't pretend to agree with doctrine that I don't.
Not wanting to listen to the other side of the argument, not wanting to have an open discussion about Watchtower beliefs, especially with those who are critical of them, betrays an extreme insecurity about those beliefs. And people could say, oh yes, but you've got a website, you've got a blog, people comment on it, you must be wanting to kind of amass followers for yourself. Honestly, it just doesn't interest me. I'm only interested in reporting truth about the organisation that has taken more than 20 years of my life and continues to hold my family hostage. You're only going to know the full picture once you start doing objective research, which is what I encourage people to do, that is not preying on Jehovah's Witnesses.
The day that I woke up and saw that I needed to get out of Scientology was the day that I realized I was telling more lies than I was telling truth. I was having to put on a happy face and justify things that were going on around me that just didn't make any sense or that I just knew weren't true.
And there was a few times for about 2 years where I would voice that I was having doubts about being here, and they would just say, well, the only reason you want to leave is because you've committed crimes here, so you feel bad and you want to run away. So I would, oh, you're right. And I convinced myself of that too. Like, if I want to leave, it's because I've done something wrong and it's my fault. And then you get all into your head, like, there must be something really wrong with me. And it's really depressing.
It's their doctrine or the highway. If you don't agree with Scientology teachings, you know, you either have a word that you don't understand or it's because you've done something bad.
Haggis was stunned when he reviewed the material for OT3.
And I read the materials, they're handwritten by Hubbard. And I went, what the hell is this? I mean, I could justify a lot of things in the past, and I could say, okay, but this there's nothing to justify. This is, damn, this is madness. This is absolute madness. It's a system of belief that, I mean, you've got these folks inside this fortress who won't look out and won't look at any criticism and can't bear any investigation and think that everyone is against them. How would you describe that?
I have 2 sisters.
Who are in the church?
Yeah.
Can't speak with them?
No.
They won't speak with you?
No.
What is it like not being able to even call or email?
It's horrible.
Your own flesh and blood?
It's wrong.
Like many members, it was important for me. It was my career, and it was also what I truly felt in my heart to have these kinds of encounters with apologists and my own personal studies that could help me say, I may not fully understand it, but I have faith, and my faith will bridge the gap, and I'll put it on a shelf. Because as a teacher, I needed to be aware of what the critics were saying. I needed to be able to refute that, and if my students brought up questions or they brought me a pamphlet and said, my friend gave me this, he's a member of the Assembly of God or whatever, how do you respond to this? Because I couldn't reconcile what I was discovering historically and doctrinally about the church with this claim that we are the one true church, the true and living church. And more than that, I felt like I felt betrayed by the very people that I had trusted the most. I felt like, just tell me the truth. And then tell me what really happened at Carthage. And then I'll decide for myself.
I went to all the Mormon scholars that I could. I wanted to know what the church had to say about these things. And I asked them all basically the same question. First of all, is this that I've been reading true? And invariably, every single one of them would say, well, not only is that true, but da-da-da-da-da-da. And they'd tell me something else that I didn't know that was just even more shocking.
It just kind of it made me see that the church did not have this right. That we didn't have it right when it came to the treatment of our LGBT brothers and sisters. And so it just kind of started me down a path. It was a bit the catalyst down the path of like, how can we be wrong about anything? What else are we wrong about? And I just started doing some research and found a lot of discrepancies between what I'd been taught all my life and what I'd read and researched with history. And
I think for a lot of these people, the more they study and the more they sort of get a big picture, they realize just a lot of their beliefs fall to the floor. These general authorities that I've talked to, when I've asked them about Book of Abraham or polyandry, they don't have good answers. And so what do you do? This is an apologetic position that is just really frustrating, because I feel that the right answer is to say, we need to do better. We need to be more honest as a church. We need to be more open. People deserve to know.
I need the strength to accept the truth.
The church says it is trying to be transparent and that believers in every church have doubts.
But when Mr. Mattson brought his questions to his superiors, he says they told him to stay silent.
They said that you're not supposed to talk to your wife, your children. You don't to talk about these issues in church.
Hans Mattson says he is not alone in suffering a crisis of faith, and that there are consequences. Mormons who admit their doubts can be prohibited from attending weddings and baptisms, and friends and family members sometimes cut off contact.
Really, why I'm sitting here and why I'm here in the United States, because I can see that there are so many friends of mine, members in the church, that are being hurt. They're going through a terrible faith crisis, as I did.
I had just always thought, anti-Mormon literature is just a crafty way to, take bits and pieces of the truth. But now that the LDS scholars are acknowledging things that I had never in my life of devoted Mormonism had never ever heard of, I was like, I feel like I couldn't trust them. We just needed to keep learning. We got to the point where we were like, we just wanted the truth. Just give us the hard, heavy truth, but just let it be the truth. That's all we want. And we'll deal with that. We'll pick up the pieces. We'll somehow put it together again. We finally end up meeting with the general authority. And by this point, we knew if...
We knew a lot at this point.
At this point, yeah, we had studied so much. And we were like, if maybe he can give us something that we're missing.
He said, he said, I know of your sincerity and your honesty. I mean, he confirmed every single thing we talked to him about. I mean, we're learning from him that we weren't just stumbling across lies, and he confirmed every single thing that we had read was in fact true, and that it did need to be kind of redefined if we were going to move forward.
But he said, whether you stay or whether you go, you're going to be okay. And
this is one of the last things he said to us. We're not leaving because of any kind of a lifestyle change we want to make, or we're not leaving for any other reasons other than we've found out some stuff that it makes it impossible for us to believe. But we love you, we love you, we love you, we respect you, we want to keep all of our friends, it has nothing to do with the people. Love above ideology. Relationships above theology. Human connection above belief. And putting belief and putting these things that we find so different from each other, no matter where we are, in its proper place, below love, relationships, human connection.
If you're watching this video, surely you are an adult, you have the tools that you need to make your own decisions in life and not have 8 men determining and micromanaging every single facet of the decisions you make and the life choices you make.
No one person or group has all the answers to everything. What you have to do is go out there and get the answers for yourself.
Research for yourself. Think for yourself. Be authentic. Live your authentic life. Get both sides of the story.